Hi, this is Dr. Swanberg with another tutorial on how to understand the readings. Again, just a quick reminder, these are high school level readings. If you are struggling to understand them, that is time to reach out to your instructor, join a help session, ask me to talk to you about it, help you read it, experiment with reading it out loud. But it is not time to use CliffsNotes or Monarch Notes or eNotes or any of these other cheat sites to understand it for you. This is a class that is testing your reading ability as well as your writing ability. So we need you to be able to understand and analyze these really on your own. Now, with that said, classes that meet in person do get to have discussions about them, so I am going to help you with a little bit of discussion. We're going to open up Two Kinds by Amy Tan. Once again, you have a first-person narrator, this time in the daughter, who is a first-generation American in a Chinese family. Her mother emigrated, again, probably in the 1940s and 50s wave of emigration. So it says the mom had come to San Francisco in 1949 after losing everything in China. So that gives us some insight into her mom. So her mom is an adult in 1949. And had come here with two twin baby girls. And she had lost those two baby girls, and her mother, her father, her home, and then comes to the United States to start over. So that's a rough beginning for the mom. And then the daughter is born here in the United States. And the mother really, really wants her daughter to have everything. She doesn't want her to suffer or struggle the way she struggled. And so she's trying to push her, right? And we have a mom who's, bless her heart, she wants her daughter to be Shirley Temple, and her daughter just isn't going to be Shirley Temple. And she tries to get her to be a piano prodigy. But the daughter's not very good at it, and the teacher's not very good. She doesn't find the best teacher here. And so the mother is it's never quite enough for the mother. And it's one of these stories where, in America we like to say, oh, you can be anything. And I think the mom is kind of caught up in this idea that you can be anything. And the daughter's like, no, I can't. I'm not very good at the piano. I cannot be a piano prodigy. And it's kind of this funny realization that, that American dream it's limited. I can't be anything I want to be. My daughter cracked me up one time. I said, she told me I should be an Olympic athlete. And I told her I thought that at my age, that ship had sailed. And she's like, well, you better get on a boat soon here, Mom. She was really little when she told me that. But, no, I can't become anything I want at this point in my life. Most of us can't become anything we want. We cannot become Olympic gymnasts. We can't become piano prodigies. We might be a good gymnast. A lot of us can become good gymnasts, but very, very few of us can step into these exceptional roles like Shirley Temple. Only Shirley Temple got to be Shirley Temple. There are plenty of child stars, but how many are there? How many of you turned out to be JoJo Siwa? Only JoJo Siwa so far, and that's a blessing. All right. So we are looking at this, and there's some dialogue and some dialect that goes on, and she's the narrator is trying to capture the way her mother talks, And that's the dialect. So when she's saying things, play note right, but doesn't sound good, my mother complained, no singing sound. So she's trying to capture kind of her mother's accent and the way her mother puts English together as an immigrant from China. And yet she's trying to do it in a way that is respectful to her mom. So then they go through, and this, kind of, she tries to tell her mom that it's not working, but they get all the way to the talent show, and the talent show is just a disaster. And it's really awful. I think, though, one of the interesting things, though, for this, and to really get at the main idea of this story, is the end, right? Where the narrator has grown up, the mother has died a few months before, and she's been getting things in order for her father, and she's thinking back about how difficult it was, and how different from her mom she was, and how her mom tried so hard to give her something good. And then she opens the piano and she touches the keys, and she remembers that it was a good piano. And she opens up the Schumann book, and it looked more difficult than she remembered. She played a few bars, remembering it, and then she looks, and it's a piece called Perfectly Contented, and she tried to play this one as well. But Pleading Child came out better than Perfectly Contented. So we are thinking here in terms of themes of that rift that can be put between a mother and a daughter by a lack of communication. We are looking at the rift that can come up between a mother and a daughter who come from completely different cultures. A young woman who was born into the United States is going to have a very different experience than a woman who was born in China in the late 1930s, early 1940s. And that has created a gap in their communication that makes it really hard to overcome. So as you're developing your main idea here, I want you to think about those themes of the communication between the mother and the child, the breakdown in communication, the expectations of the mother versus the reality of the daughter, and what that generational disconnect does to the mom and the daughter. So when you're trying to figure out what your main idea is, you're thinking about those themes. And again, make sure you read it out loud to get the flavor of it so that you can really hear those conversations. She wants you to hear them. Read it out loud if you are struggling with it at all. All right, very good. Thank you. And if you need more help than I've offered here, definitely log on to one of the help sessions this week.